Hey guys, it's Pastor Anthony here with your Daily Excellence. Just coming on. We are going to talk about Project Bluebeam. Yes, we've been waiting on that on this video for quite a while. I know some of you have been really anxious about what I have to say about Project Bluebeam. And so we're going to dive into that this evening. Going to share a lot of videos, going to share some perspective. Also pulled a few things from a few channels as well. Had permission to do that, by the way. And so some of you, when you see that, you're going to know what channel it came from. And so don't worry about it. I did get permission before I posted it. And I will be showing some stuff from the Associated Press this evening. And so because of that, I will be enacting the Fair Use Act tonight, and so everything that is being used and everything that has been copied is for educational purposes only, free of charge for the public. We are not monetized and we are not making money off of anything that we have this evening. And so with that being said, before we get started on Project Bluebeam, do me a huge favor, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this video this evening as we get started with Project Bluebeam. Also, check out all of our links below. Everything that we have, all of our backups, every platform we are on those links below, so you can check those out. Follow, subscribe to those things as well. And also, of course, if you like to support this channel, you can do so through our Patreon, or you can do it through PayPal as well. So, with all that being said, what is Project Bluebeam? Okay, some of you may not even know what in the world I'm talking about. So everything that we're going to talk about tonight for the protection and the security of this channel, we are going to be speaking it from the angle of conspiracy, okay? We're going to talk about it from a conspiracy theory, and we're going to be speaking from a hypothetical point of view this evening. And so for those of you that are veterans on this channel, and some of you who listen to people like myself and others, when you hear us say read in between the lines, that's what I need you to do when I make these kinds of statements. Read between the lines, okay? And so don't get upset and things that I may say this evening when I present them in a conspiracy theory view or in a hypothetical view. We're just doing that to protect the channel. And so just understand that that is the angle that I am presenting this subject to you this evening. All right. So getting back to what is Project Bluebeam. Some of you may not even know what that is. And so we are going to look at it from this perspective. And we see that in August 17th of 2008, the Indian Times, oddly enough, did a brief article about what is Project Bluebeam. And what it says is Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory about a supposed project whose purpose is to create an artificial second coming in order to control people. As per the alleged theory, the New World Order purpose is, number one, to abolish all Christians and traditional religions in order to replace them with a one world man, or one world religion based on the cult of a man. Number two, to abolish all national identities and national pride in order to establish a world identity and a world pride. Number three, to abolish the family as known today in order to replace them with individuals all working for the glory of the new one world government. And so that is Project Bluebeam. So that is the theory of Project Bluebeam. That is the idea, the objective of Project Bluebeam. So what is the technology behind it? And so we're going to look at that tonight. We're going to look at some technology that's going to take place. We're going to look at, some of these things that we're seeing in the skies, some of these activities that we're seeing, some of the things that are being reported. People say, oh, look, it's aliens. It's UFOs. It's these things. And, I'm just going to start off saying that I personally do not believe in extraterrestrials. just because I don't believe in little green men from Mars or anything like that, just because of what the Bible has to say. The book of Genesis makes it pretty clear that when it comes to intelligent design, that mankind is it. Only mankind was created in the image of God, and there really is no one else in the area of intelligent design. Now, does that not mean that there's other planets out there that have other life forms, plants, animals, microorganisms, things like that? Of course, I'm sure there is, I wouldn't hold it like that, but to have intelligent beings like human-like, as we try to make majority of aliens somehow in a human form with two eyes and a mouth and having the ability to reason and think and have free will. To my understanding, it's only mankind that can do that. Now, you may ask, well, what about all these abduction cases? What about all these sightings? I will tell you this much. I do believe there's a spiritual realm that is demonic that does manifest itself before people, and that could take on the appearance of what we know as aliens. Some of the things that we see in our skies that are, in certain areas, I do believe are demonically influenced. It could be the spirit of the Nephilims, for all I know. It could be, the enemy doing things. We know that, when we look at Matthew 24, Luke 21, it does say in the last days we will see signs in the heavens. We'll see frightful signs in the heavens, And I think in that particular context, when it's talking about frightful signs, I do believe that you can lump in, along with, asteroids and fireballs and all these things. I think you can lump in these sightings in the skies, all this technology. I think you can lump those things in because it's going to frighten a lot of people. And what we're about to discover today is that there has definitely been a disclosure in this. We're going to start hearing a whole lot more about aliens, so to speak, and about these sightings. We've already started hearing about some of this stuff. And so before we get into that, I have a quick video from one of our channels that I pulled this from. Remember, I had permission. And so I'm going to show that to you. And then after that, we will get into some other things as well. So let me pull that up for you.
One theme many conspiracy theories share with one another is the idea of a nation's government turning against its citizens through the use of technology. This concept isn't unique to conspiracy theories, however. There's plenty of literature throughout history warning of such an occurrence, such as Orwell's 1984. All in all, it's not like this type of thing doesn't already happen. This theory takes that notion to a much different level. This video has been popping up, warning that a conspiracy from back in the 90s called Project Bluebeam has finally reached its year of fruition. As just a brief overview, the Project Bluebeam conspiracy states that NASA is planning on projecting a large image into the skies at different locations around the globe. The goal is to deceive the planet into believing in a new global religion. Some people seem to be pointing to other instances of unexplained sky anomalies as evidence that this type of technology has already been tested. We'll go more in depth with these a bit later. This theory began in 1994 when an established Canadian journalist named Sergei Monast started focusing his work on something different from his usual publications. His claim was that NASA was going to attempt to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist at its head by creating a worldwide simulation of the Second Coming. The following 2 years after Monast lectured on this topic, he became very paranoid, claiming he was being hunted by the authorities. His children, whom he homeschooled, were taken away from him in 1996 so they could receive public education. Shortly afterward, he was arrested and spent a night in prison, and the following day, he died from a heart attack. This, in combination with rumors of another unnamed journalist working on this dying from a heart attack that same year, makes proponents of this theory believe they were assassinated by the government to keep this all under wraps. In which case, that would have been pretty useless because we're talking about it right now. Project Bluebeam was said to have 4 steps. Step 1 was the breakdown of all archaeological knowledge to set the stage. This stage involves staging earthquakes at various locations around the world, and at all their locations, planting evidence that would prove all other major religions wrong. According to Monast, this falsification already began with the films Space Odyssey, Star Trek, Star Wars, and E.T. to push the ideas of space invasions. He even said the film Jurassic Park was created as a way to push the theory of evolution. Step 2 is the most widely talked about part of the theory. In this stage, holographic lasers will be used to beam projections in the sky all over the world of whatever god is most predominant in that area. The god will announce themselves, speaking every language, and then at the end of their performance, every god will come together as one. Step 3 is to use low-frequency rays from satellites that will be used to telepathically communicate with everyone, making them believe that this god is talking to them from their own souls. I'm sure you're all seeing how ridiculous this is right now, and it only gets worse. Step 4, the final stage, is to make all of mankind believe that an alien invasion is about to take place in every major city. The purpose of this is to make every nation strike back with nuclear weapons, eventually creating complete chaos. In addition to this, they will try to convince the Christians that the rapture is about to happen. In the midst of all this anarchy, people will be desperate to accept the New World Order to restore peace to the world. Many proponents of Project Bluebeam like to reference unexplained sky anomalies as tests of this technology already being implemented. The most popular example of this is the 2009 Norwegian spiral anomaly. On the morning of December 9th, 2009 in Norway, many of the residents witnessed a strange spectacle. A blue beam appeared to shoot up into the morning sky, and at its peak turned into a giant, miles-wide spiral. The spiral was able to be witnessed all throughout northern Norway and Sweden, and there were many videos of it from awestruck people that day. The event lasted about 10 minutes, and then the spiral appeared to be swallowed from inside out by darkness.
All right, so you just watched the video, and so the video gives you kind of the history and the background of Project Bluebeam and what the idea of that project is to do. And so, we see that they're going to use these technologies to fake a second coming for whatever God is prominent or whatever belief is prominent in certain areas and places, and they're going to use this to bring fear and to bring doubt to many religions, including Christianity. And so, some of the things that we talked about already about implementing these new systems, they're kind of already doing. If you think about changing the family network, changing the names, they've already kind of started doing these things, especially if you look at the White House with Nancy Pelosi and her new ruling, which, by the way, she's having a hard time following herself, but, taking out, his and her and changing the family names. So we're already beginning to see certain implications. But one of the things that we're going to be seeing is more conversations taking place. It kind of died down a little bit due to the election season, especially with the military in Washington and all the things that were surrounding that. We kind of saw a pullback in this, but the disclosure's coming back. And so this is just an example I'm going to show you right now of what has been happening in the news concerning this. And I'm kind of throwing a lot of information out there because I'm going somewhere with this, and so just hang tight with me for a minute. I'm going to explain to you clearly exactly how I think this is going to work, and based upon all the information that I have. And I'm going to put all this together in a nice package and a nice bow on top for you. So just hang tight for a minute. But here's the next piece. Here's the next piece I'm going to show you, and this is just a clip from NBC News and their disclosure that they had on this particular subject as well, with the announcement coming out of Israel. Former space security chief claims that aliens exist and that apparently President Trump knew all about it. Most of you guys already knew about this, and so we're going to pull that up for you, and we are going to talk about this in just a second.
Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years, not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Now, this former head of a branch of Israel's defense ministry is 87. He was very well respected, at least until now. And he said all this in an interview with an Israeli newspaper in Hebrew, but it's really taken off after parts of it were published in English by the Jerusalem Post today. He says he's come forward now in the hope that his news will be accepted as true. He notes that if he'd made these claims 5 years ago, he would have been hospitalized, but now he says, I've got nothing to lose.
All right, so just a little clip there. You know, I think it's kind of interesting. Well, there's a lot of things to say about that one. But, you know, they talk about this disclosure. And I want you to understand something about disclosures is that they're always going to mix the truth in with something else. And so, you know, they have a disclosure that apparently we've been in contact with these beings. Like I said at the very beginning, I don't believe in actual aliens from Mars type of thing. However, you know, it is possible that there was contact with demonic forces. We do see that in the history of mankind, if you go in the Old Testament, that man had encounters with the Nephilims, who were demonic forces, and that they actually mixed with one another, creating a different race of people that had to be destroyed. And so it's not out of the ballpark, it's not out of the equation that there has been some type of a contact. We've seen it on and off through history and biblical history of these kinds of things happening. And so if they have been having a contact with them, it's probably demonic entities that this has taken place with. One of the things that you'll note that the announcer here talks about, he said that the former space security chief in Israel is 87 years old, kind of alluding to the fact that this guy might have dementia. And, you know, they kind of went on a little track there about his reputation and things. And so there was a disclosure, and then there was a little bit of a covering, if you know what I mean on this as well. And so, but I think the part of this is there has to be something going on in the background for NBC and Fox News and ABC and CBS and for the Jerusalem Post and for a lot of these channels to be putting this out, because we saw this disclosure hit all on the same day. I remember the night that it hit because I was on my way back from Illinois with a family, and I was getting bombarded with this stuff, and we listened to it. I know that Stephen Bendenute over at News Network did a piece about this as well, which I was trying to find it because I wanted to play a part of what he said on here, but that video I think has gotten taken down. So I couldn't find it, so I'm not able to play it for you this evening. But, you know, we talk about the soft disclosure in this, and so you have to wonder, well, what's this got to do with Project Bluebeam? What does this have to do with these things? Like I said, when we start seeing things in the sky, somebody has to put that in the sky, okay? Somebody has to put it in the sky for all people to see. Now, whether they do this project or not, I'm not sure how it's going to go. I know there's been plans, according to conspiracy theories, that there's been plans in the past to unleash this, but they've been held back each time. And so, but we're seeing soft disclosure. We're seeing a lot of reports. We saw it in 2020. Some people claim that this was a smokescreen because they were trying to do things behind the scenes with COVID-19's lockdowns and things like that. But I remember seeing Carl Tuckerson on Fox News doing a piece about seeing aircraft or seeing UFOs off the coast of New York. Anybody remember that last year? And so we saw those things taking place. There's one more piece that I'm going to show you guys. This is on the technology end of it, because one of the things that the theory brings about is saying that they're going to have this entity in the sky. It's going to speak and it's going to tell everybody whatever they make it say. And so you have to wonder, well, how are they going to make this technology come to pass? You know, they talked about using some type of a microwave to display audio waves so that everyone can hear it. Well, I want to show you something, and this is a piece of technology that has come out. They're perfecting it. They're working on where you can audibly hear sound, but the person next to you cannot. And so this is from the Associated Press. This was a piece of technology that they're working on, and so I'm going to show that to you right now, and then we'll come back on, and I'm going to try to tie everything that we have discussed together. All right? So give me just a second here, and we will look into that.
Are you listening? Introducing sound beaming. You hear the audio, others don't without headphones.
When you are inside of the bubble, you get the sound, the volume, the immersiveness of it. And where you're outside of it, you cannot get it. Sometimes you can hear a little bit of noise. Sometimes you hear there's something going on beside you, but you don't get the volume and you don't get the immersiveness of the sound experience. You don't need to tell the device where you are. It's not streaming to like one exact place. It follows you wherever you go. So it's personally for you, follows you, plays what you want inside your head.
What I experienced personally was having, for the first time, the sound playing in my head without the headphones. And then I was thinking, yeah, but is it the same as headphones? No, because I have the freedom. You know, it's like I have the freedom of being what I want to do, and I have the sounds playing in my head as there would be something happening here, which is difficult to explain because we have no reference for that. I don't think any other audio technology can do. And the other one is kind of the privacy that you can control when you get out of the bubble of sounds that is created, which I think is really what we're talking about and makes us so different from headphones and regular speakers.
All right, so as you just saw, they now know how to create sound that can play in your mind, and it can be through gaming, it could be through music, it could be through television, whatever it is, whatever you're wanting to hear, you can hear it without nobody else around you hearing the same thing. You understand? I mean, so like you can have somebody next to you, they don't hear anything, but you've got like a full-blown movie going on in your head, all right? So as long as you're in this sound bubble that they were talking about, then you can hear whatever it is, and anyone outside of that bubble cannot hear anything at all. Or, you know, I think the way this is going to go is that you can probably control this sound bubble for anyone to hear anything that they want you to hear. Think about it. So if you're inside this I want you to think about this on a much larger scale, because I guarantee you that it exists. You're on a much larger scale that goes continent wide, you see whatever this is that Bluebeam puts in the air, because it's a hologramic image is what it is. It's a manipulation of light, ultraviolet light, and hologram kind of like combined into one. And it can make images move in any direction, and it can be seen for miles and miles and miles. You have this bubble that would be encompassing the area that people can see whatever this image is. And as long as you're in that bubble, you'll be able to hear without needing headphones, without speakers, without wires. You'll be able to hear this thing. You'll also be able to probably hear it in your own language, depending, where you're at, what you speak. So one person will hear it in English, the other person could hear it in Spanish if they wanted. And so I bring these things out because the technology is coming together for Project Bluebeam, or what is known now as the Great Dissolution, or I forgot what the word is. I'm drawing a blank right now. The Great Deception. There we go. It's known now as the Great Deception. Now, what does Scripture tell us about this? We know that in these last days there's going to be a massive deception that's going to come across the land. Now, does it happen while the church is here? Is this the great falling away that we see? Or does this take place after the church has left? And it's the full reign of the Antichrist, and it's during the time that God is pouring out his wrath on the planet. And this is when we see that the Antichrist is at the third temple. He desecrates it, declares himself to be God. And is this where everyone then begins to worship him? They take that mark of the beast. However it may be, we know there's going to be a great illusion across the land. People are going to believe something. They're going to have scales across their eyes. We know that there's going to be people who are going to fall into this trap. Okay, and so I bring Project Bluebeam up, and it is a conspiracy theory. It's hypothetical, and the technology does exist. And so, like right now, I'm going to show you some stuff. This one video here is from Israel a few years ago. I remember the night that this came out, by the way, when it was live streaming. They were testing out Project Bluebeam. Everybody kind of thought that the end of the world was here, was upon us. I mean, I had people texting me, people writing me on Facebook, like, what is going on? What is this? Is this the end of the world? What's taking place here? But it was a Project Bluebeam. They were testing it out in Israel. And so, you can look at it and you can see, if you were in Israel that day and you saw this, it would be quite, it would be a fearful sight, as Scripture tells us we'll see. And so, this particular video here is kind of a copy of a copy. It's not the original one. The original one, you can hear the people talking. You can hear the sounds of the city. You can kind of get an idea of what's taking place. This one here is just a copy of that. Someone put some music behind it. And so I'm going to I'm muting out the music, just you seeing the video here. But that's a pretty impressive thing that we've got going on here. And so you can pretty well see that an entire city would be looking at something like this. Now imagine this technology that I just showed you from the Associated Press. Imagine that they form this sound bubble over Jerusalem, and then you start hearing voices coming from whatever this is. And for people who don't understand what's taking place, for people who don't take time to see things that are coming, they would believe whatever it is. I mean, it would be total chaos. It would be they would fall under that spell of being deceived. It would be just pure deception on something like that. But I don't think you would see what you're looking at now. You're going to see a figure in the sky. They're going, if they pull this off, they're going to try to fake the second coming of Jesus Christ, or whatever that particular area, maybe in the Middle East, it might be Muhammad, maybe, in India, it might be, I don't know, Buddha or whoever. Whatever it is, they're going to use it as a form of trickery to get people to believe whatever it is that they believe with an end times perspective of that actually happened right then and there, only to let those people purposely let them down and make them realize that their religions are not true, including Christianity, so that then they can form a one world government And then this entity, like the Antichrist, comes on the scene and says, see, I'm true. Rest of it wasn't. So this is just a scenario that I have just given you. This is, like I said, this is all conspiracy theory. It's hypothetical in nature of these things, but the technology is here, and it is very probable. Another thing that I'm showing you right now, I believe, is coming out of Hawaii. This was another, what I believe was Project Bluebeam as well. This took place this year. I think there's been some other ones since then. But as you can see, this was seen throughout the entire island chain, by the way. This figure moving back and forth, to and fro. It lasted for a few hours in the early morning hours, but I think they had like 1,100 people recorded this and sent this in. They were calling NASA. They were trying to get some information. I remember it made national news, though. I saw it on YouTube first because a lot of YouTubers were putting this out there and talking about it. But then the mainstream news got a hold of it, and they started putting some stuff on there as well. And so, the whole purpose of this, of talking about Project Bluebeam, is to really help you understand that we are entering a very trying time of deception. We're going to start seeing these disclosures keep going on about signs in the heavens. We're going to keep seeing disclosures about aliens. And the idea of this is that they're going to try to manufacture something that's really false. It's really a false narrative, but they're going to make it sound that it's true to prepare the population, okay? Because if you prepare the people long enough for something, then when the event does take place, it's not so much of a surprise, not so much caught off guard. It's more like you just brought truth into something that has been talked about, that has been a theory, or that has been a conspiracy for a very long time. And this is where the deception kicks in. And so we have to be smarter than this. We have to understand that the scripture actually talks to us about a great deception. It talks to us about frightful signs in the heavens. It tells us that people are going to come and they're going to claim to be Jesus Christ. Remember that? It's not just a one man in a certain location or somebody, trying to form a cult and saying that they're a prophet of Jesus or whatever it is. I think in this particular context of scripture, it's actually saying that something is going to come along and say it is. But when they do say that, it's not. This is also in Matthew 24 in the days of sorrow, by the way. It's in that same scripture. It's also, I think it's in Luke 21. I might have it backwards on that. I think one version has and the other one doesn't. But it's in there. And so this all kind of points to the days of sorrows that we're in. This all points to the times that we're moving into the great deception. And so they're going to use Project Bluebeam for something. Okay? They're not just going to waste this technology on nothing. And so my job tonight is just to make you aware of what's taking place, give you my 2 cents on this. There's going to be plenty of other things. People are really going to go into like 7 different directions on this. My direction is just going parallel with what Scripture tells us, and that is, in these last days there will be deceptions. In these last days there will be frightful signs in the heavens. In these last days that many will come in my name, but it's not them. That's where I'm going with this, and this is proof with what man is doing. This is proof with technology. This is proof with the videos that I've shown you. This is proof with the disclosures. They're already prepping the population for something, okay? And here's a thought, too, that just occurred to me as I'm doing this. Let's just say the rapture takes place. They're going to have an answer for the rapture, by the way. They're going to have an answer for when all these people disappear from when the church goes, whether it's at pre-trib, mid-trib. For some of you that believe in post-trib, we won't go there tonight. Whenever it takes place, for those that are left behind, there's going to be an outcry. They're going to be missing family members, missing kids, missing coworkers, friends. Pastors are going to come up missing. There's going to be a lot of questions. They're going to need an answer. Don't you think that Project Bluebeam may not help with that answer? The deception? Because don't you think that these people that are behind the scenes don't know Scripture better than probably I do, better than you do? Don't you think they don't know what's coming? Don't you think they don't know what God's about to do? And even though they know what's coming, what God's about to do, they're still going to continue the course of the Antichrist. So, just telling you, this is where we're at with this, okay? We're going to gonna pause right here just for a second, and then I'll be right back with you in just a second. All right, back from the break there for a second. Just to wrap everything up from the Project Bluebeam, things that we've learned today so far is that it is technologically, it is a hologram program that has been formed by the government. Some say it was by NASA. That's a conspiracy of it. I think it's been around a little bit longer than that. We know that the technology exists for the audio to be displayed for mass crowds and areas. And so the technology is in place. As for right now, it is still just a conspiracy. It is a bit of a theory. However, it's very plausible. And so that is my 2 cents on the Project Bluebeam theory and conspiracy this evening. Be wise, be smart, pay attention to the disclosures that are coming out as they continue to familiarize us with extraterrestrials, with things from space, from these sightings, as they get the population used to the fact that we are in contact with these type of entities, which, in my opinion, these entities are demonic in nature, demonic in force. We know that in the last days that we will be seeing these things, and it's not the first time that mankind has dealt with this. We see this throughout biblical history, that we have been in contact before. And so, like I said a couple times already in this video, I do not believe in little green men from Mars. I believe that everything is spiritual in nature, and that we are dealing with a spiritual warfare, and that warfare is to keep you from meeting God. It's to keep you from missing heaven. And so I bring this out to you as kind of a watchman on the wall, seeing these things, seeing the times that we're in, seeing the technology that we have, and knowing that we have things that are coming. And so with that being said, guys, hey, give this video a like, give it a share, give it a thumbs up. Check us out in all the links below. We're on Rumble, we're on Patreon, we're on Brighteon, we're on Telegram. We have a backup channel here on Daily Excellence called Pastor Anthony's Channel. We have LBRY. We're on SoundCloud. And so we are kind of everywhere. We do the best we can. And so check us out on all those platforms. Should, Lord forbid, something happen to this channel, you can find us several other ways as well. And, to be vigilant in these times that we're in, understand what we're doing. Everything that comes out in disclosures, it comes from a seed of truth, and it's that seed of truth that we need to focus on as we move forward, because that seed will eventually grow and blossom. It's typically surrounded by other things just to kind of keep the populace at bay, because they're not going to disclose everything at once, because they don't want to cause panic, and they don't want people to start looking for other answers either, because if they do that, they might look toward God, and that's not what they want. And so with that being said, I'm glad that you guys came on tonight. Thanks for hearing me out on Project Bluebeam. I hope it answers some of the base questions. I didn't dive too deep. My objective tonight was to give you my theory, support that theory with things that I have found, back it up with what the Word says, and to kind of give you an idea of where this heading and where this narrative is going in these things. And so we were going to be doing some other videos on this channel. I think the next one I'm going to do is called The World Reset. global reset. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about UBI, Universal Basic Income, which is coming very quickly. We are on a fast track to socialism, communism, whatever isms you want to say, we are getting there. And so with that being said, my cat is here and he's crying. And so anybody want to meet my cat? Hold on, I'll get it for you. This is my cat Zinger. He's the one who's been doing all the meowing if you haven't heard him. And so he oftentimes likes to hang out with me when I'm doing recordings. He's usually under my feet or roaming around the studio, and so, or the room. I have a makeshift studio here in the corner. And so this is my cat Zinger. And so if you've seen some of the videos and you hear a little bit of meowing in the background, this is him. All right. And so me and Mr. Zinger signing off. Have a great evening, everyone. God bless you. Put your stuff in the comments below. Support this channel. You can do that through Patreon and PayPal. That being said, have a great evening, everyone. Bye.